Hi, Nadya Dickson here with the Master's Program for Women, and I am back here in North Carolina after an amazing whirlwind week in Orange County. Those of you who went to the Barnabas group, it was so good to see you again. And you may hear a very unique sound to our area. You may hear the cicadas, and this is the season for cicadas. What's really interesting is that I had an opportunity in Orange County to do session 3 with our Orange County cohort, and then to facilitate it again in San Luis Obispo with our new cohort in the more central part of California. And session 3 is all about seasons. It's about growth, it's about callings, it's about going from unconscious incompetence to unconscious competence. And things are very seasonal right now. These are the dog days of summer here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's hot, it's humid. I'm trying right now to stay out of the sun so that there's not a glare on the screen. And as I hear the cicadas, I'm reminded that this season will pass and we'll be going into the fall. Just like we talk about going from the go for it stage to the doldrums. We do the get ready in the spring, the go for it in the summer, and then we eventually transition into the doldrums or the fall or autumn. And then we can go from the fall or the doldrums to the cocoon stage or the winter time. And that's a time where we're isolated, we feel misunderstood. There's a time where God is really pulling us away, and there's some deep work that needs to be done. The temptation is, as we approach the cocoon, we may feel a resistance to that. We may feel a resistance to that deep work, this silence and solitude. Sometimes that's required for that work to happen as God is just getting us to be reflective and press into Him. And we may mini transition over back into the summer again, which is totally fine in some circumstances. But there are times when we need to set ourselves aside and go through that process. You know, another word for holiness is set apart, and God has set us apart. And in order to go through the cocoon stage well, that is a necessary requirement, is that we are set apart. I resist that. I'm a sanguine. I don't like being isolated. I love things that are going. I like keeping myself around a lot of people. That's where I get energized. But as I feel like God is pulling me away into a cocoon season, I am much more intentional now that I've gone through the master's program. I know that it's a time to hunker down. It's a time to reflect. It's a time for journaling and just doing silent retreats with God. Sometimes grief pulls us into those situations, but sometimes it's just a process of growth. And as we go through the doldrums and we find ourselves a little bit disenfranchised because we've been doing the same thing over and we do it well, you know, God's calling us into a new season of growth, and we have to get our roots down in order to undergird all the increase and the abundance that's coming, and that's fruit. We know that Bob Shank has just gone through some tremendous seasons himself, but I know that he's going to come back and emerge a new person after going through such difficulty, but with such courage and faithfulness, and that encourages me. So it's wonderful to know that even though we go through challenging times, it is a season, that there's a beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end, that it's not a place where we camp out. It's where God brings us up out of that place into the new. I just want to encourage you, if you find yourself getting ready to go into a cocoon, don't resist it if it's part of God's plan for you. And if you find yourself already in the cocoon, what is God speaking to you? How can you track and journal what's happening on the inside as He's speaking to you? These are tremendous discoveries, and it's all for our growth, our transformation as we transition and go from calling to calling and from strength to strength. I want to encourage you today that God is faithful, that He's right there in the cocoon with you, and that it's His providential time when we're released. It's not anything that we can do on our own. It is one of those kairos moments, a divine appointment. So just want to encourage you in that. Until I see you again, I'm in your corner.